Hello, everyone. So today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbot Silverbolt. I know it might be weird that I'm doing a review on Silverbolt first before the first two releases on the Aerialbots, Air Raid and Slingshot, but I just got Silverbolt today and I've been messing around with him for the past 4 or 3 hours, and I really love the guy. So I just wanted to make a video of him while I still am at the peak of my enjoyment of him. So this is Silverbolt, the leader of the Aerialbots, sorry, and this is the Age of the Primes version, which eventually will combine to form Superion, and he is the leader of it, and he is like the main body and head of Superion. And this is him in robot mode with this big block, which is basically a turret, I think, or a defensive turret, which, as I showed earlier, he can be put behind for that pose like he is in battle mode, shooting this massive gun that is for Superion. And so he comes with this accessory. This is basically the main body of the gun of Superion, and this is his individual gun, which is pretty standard for him. I like that they made a smaller one for him in his robot mode. Unlike in the Combiner Wars version, it was just one long gun for Superior that Silverbolt used to hold, which honestly looked like a cane. Now, for this figure, for the robot mode figure of Silverbolt, I honestly don't have much complaints about him. Just a couple. So, let me remove this first. Now, first off, the backpack. It's a massive backpack. I wish they could have done something about it. Not sure what they could have done better for it, but yeah, it's just too big, in my opinion. And then next, the hollow gaps on the legs. This is priced at a commander price point, so I really wish they could have done something better with the legs. I know it's a commander price point because of this and mainly becoming Superior skeleton, but still, I wish they could have covered this up somehow. But it's not that big of a deal. Now, looking at his face sculpt, his face is silver painted, and his eyes are, I'm not sure what this color is, but it's some shade of blue. So I like the face sculpt. The eyes may seem a little small, but I think it's pretty nice. I mean, I'm not complaining about the eyes. And then we have the Autobot logo here. I believe it's pretty much the same place where Superior will have the logo too, like on his right chest. And then there's a lot of detailings here. You can see I like the mustard yellow they used for the thighs and the joints here. Although it kind of looks like it has really bad yellowing, but I guess it prevents that. Not sure. We'll see later on. And then for the legs, he has this really long heel spurs, which kind of look awkward at first, but it helps him stand pretty nicely and firm. So let's look at the turret now. This will become part of the jet mode. Like when his alt mode or jet mode becomes a carrier plane, this will become like the carrier part, like the massive big part behind him, which I'll show later on. But now just take a look at it. The color or the details are nice. So behind, there's really nothing there. It's just, honestly, it's just a big block. So for the gun, this is articulated like this. And of course, you can separate it. The gun can be folded as well. So it will have its uses later on in the alt mode and when Superior is holding him. So, but for now, his main use, or its main use in robot mode, is to become the gun and this turret and combine with Silverbolt's gun. There. So let's look at Silverbolt's articulation. So for the head is on a ball joint. You can look upwards, downwards, to the side. Now the shoulders, if you move the wings back, can move the full 360, can move up this much. There is a bicep swivel, elbow joint, more than 90 degrees, and it can even bend backwards. Unfortunately, no wrist swivel, which is pretty bad for Commander price point. For the waist, I haven't actually tried. Unfortunately, there is no. Oh, there is a waist swivel. Wow. Although very limited because of the really big backpack, but he still has it. It's pretty nice. So for the legs, it can kick sideways this far. Forwards, you need to pull this up, which will eventually become the landing gear in vehicle mode or in jet mode. So it can kick forwards that far, and backwards, pretty limited because of the big backpack. There is a thigh swivel, knee bend, pretty much around 90. And then for the ankle, it can pivot. So nothing really special with his articulation. It's pretty standard, and it's actually quite limited because of his big backpack. But again, you're not paying the price for just this figure alone. You're paying it for Superion. And to be honest, if I remember correctly, the Combiner Wars version, this is pretty much better in terms of articulation, because the articulation there, if I remember correctly, is ratcheted, especially on the legs, and it's not as flexible as this. It's not as posable. So yes, so yeah, there we go. The closer look for Silverbolt. Now, let's do some size comparisons. So first we have Aerialbot Air Raid, Aerialbot Slingshot, Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, Studio Series 86 Jazz, Studio Series 86 Ratchet, and finally we have Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. So here we have Silverbolt in his jet mode. So this is a pretty big jet. Like, this is the front part of the carrier jet. So we can incorporate his gun here underneath the head of the plane. So I'm not really a fan of having the main body there, but if you look at him from the top side, he is pretty much a clean plane. And he can transform as well, or he can combine with this big block here. So I'll show you how to turn this into the backside of the carrier of the plane. So first thing we need to do is detach this, then rotate the legs 180, just like that. Now we open this up, and then we will connect these two tabs to these two slots. So just connect those and connect at the back. Connect them on the hands as well, the legs, I mean. So this and this should connect. Now we will close this to lock it in. And then we will close this as well. The tab here will go to this slot, and this tab to this slot. So just close it off and lock it in place. So this will be the part of the back side of the carrier plane. Now for the gun, we're just going to angle this a little bit high, and we're going to fold the nozzle of the gun, and then we're going to, this peg hole will go to this peg, and basically this part will lock in here. So just push it down, and then this part should lock in place just like that. Now in order to connect these, we need to pull these out. Just pull them out like so. Mm. We can lift up the wings first. This is just for comfort. And then spread these two out. The tail fins. Now we're going to connect this to these parts, the yellow parts. So the red and the yellow. So we're just going to push that in. The wings can close, and then this small tab will go to this small slot there to lock it in place. And there we have Silverbolt in his carrier jet mode. Let me adjust the camera. So this is a pretty massive plane, and it's pretty heavy as well. And I'm not that big of a fan of it because it's really big and bulky, and it looks really, really weird from the side. Top angle, top view, it's pretty clean, or pretty nice. And the two aerial bots, Slingshot and Air Raid, can go right on top. They don't fit nicely, but they can. You can put them on top there, but once the two other aerial bots join, I'm pretty sure there won't be any more space for it. So let me just remove these two and then detach this again. So we will put this to the side first, as we won't be needing this now. And let's just close this. I'll close this as well. Now, final look before we do some size comparisons. First, we have the Aerialbot Air Raid, Aerialbot Slingshot. We have Combaticon Vortex. We have here the 86 movie Starscream. And lastly, we have the Transformers Legacy Cyclonus. So here we have the partially built Superion with Silverbolt, Air Raid, and Slingshot. So I know Slingshot is usually put on his left arm, but I followed the instructions or the manual in the box, and it says to put him on the right. Let me show you. So this is the partial instruction, and it shows a Slingshot on the right arm. So that's where I put it, and I don't want to put him on the left anymore. So I'll just fix him when I complete Superion. So here he is, fully built with Air Raid and Slingshot. So as you can see, he is a skeleton or skeletal combiner. I think most people didn't like that about him, but comparing him to Devastator, I think that the skeleton mechanic of it or engineering actually makes him a better figure than Devastator in terms of articulation and his sturdiness overall. So let's head on to articulation. Now let's look at him first closely. So here's the head. You can see there's an Autobot logo there. All the details. This is from mainly the big block that comes in with Silverbolt. So there it is. You can see it in his arms without the other aerial bot. It's pretty much just a blank arm. And for the legs, for the hip skirts can be moved up. So those are nice yellows there, like mustard yellow. And this is like a door that closes when you put an aerial bot there. So without it, it's just a hollow leg. So there. Slingshot fits nicely on his forearm or on his arm, and Air Raid sits nicely behind his leg. So this is his back. Mainly or majority of this is basically Silverbolt's back as well, the backpack. Then there, as you can see, he is a pretty solid combiner. I never had a combiner before, only this and Devastator. And since Devastator is like, you're really combining all the parts, some parts are, I'm not too comfortable with moving him around that much, or maybe it's just me that I'm not used to it. But for Superion here. I'm pretty comfortable with moving him around and posing him. So let's take a look at this articulation. So for the head, the ears or the antenna can pop off just like that. It can slightly move up, can look slightly down, and of course, side to side. The shoulders are ratcheted. It can move sidewards. My only issue is for a combiner, I wish they could have put in some gap fillers there because it looks really weird like that. Oops, sorry. And then there are butterfly joints, and because of transformation, oh, I removed the arm. With the transformation, you can even move the shoulders in that angle. So it's nicely ratcheted, so it can move. Sorry, the gun keeps hitting. 360. There is an elbow or bicep swivel. The elbow can bend pretty much 90 degrees, and this is what I'm complaining, similar with the shoulder or the underarm. I wish there were some gap fillers here because it just looks weird like that. There is a wrist swivel. Unfortunately, the fingers are not articulated, which for a combiner, I wish it was similar to Devastator. And of course, this is his gun. You can peg it in two places. So this can peg into his hand, and this slot can go to this peg on his wrist. And then there is not much waist swivel. There is, but pretty limited. I'm not too comfortable moving that waist around, but you can, probably if I loosen him a bit. So for the legs, they can kick sidewards pretty far. It's a nice ratchet there. Forwards, just lift up the skirt, and he can kick pretty much 90. And for the back, pretty much as far as the backpack lets him. So there is its highest swivel, knee bend, pretty much 90. And again, the gap filler. I wish there was a gap filler. And of course, the ankle pivot. Although the ankle pivot doesn't look that bad, because this is pretty much covering the gap. I wish, again, I keep saying this, I wish there was some gap filler there. So, yes, so there we have Superion, partially built. Can't wait to complete him along with Devastator. So, that was quite long. So let's head on to size comparisons. The first one is the Studio Series 86 Bumblebee, Studio Series 86 Jazz, Studio Series 86 Ratchet, Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. We have here the Netflix Ultra Magnus. Just because he is one of my biggest figures and I recently just got him, we have the Transformers Legacy Transmetal 2 Megatron. So here we have Superion next to a partially built Devastator. And as you can see, Devastator towers even over Superion himself. Although Superion has a bigger gun. So final thoughts on the Transformers Age of the Primes Aerialbot Silverbolt. Overall, he is a good figure. This robot mode is a complete upgrade from the Combiner Wars version. His articulation is great in this mode compared to the previous one. The Superion exoskeleton is a really good addition. I think the overall feel of Superion there is pretty nice, and how you combine the other aerial bots is pretty intuitive and pretty nice as well. The overall look is good. And transformation for this guy and the other aerial bots and their combination transformation is pretty straightforward. It's easy to remember. It's actually easier than to combine Devastator. So yeah, the scaling as well is pretty good. It scales well with the other 86 figures, which I mainly have. So yeah, again, overall a good figure. Definitely worth the Commander price point in my opinion. The alt mode has some additional gimmick that are not necessary but pretty much okay. It's a nice addition. So yeah, if you guys want to complete Superion, this guy is definitely a must-have because he is the main piece. So hope you guys enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching and see you guys next time. Bye bye.